Hi you guys, welcome back to the channel. So I recently got back finally from Canada and I am ready to make some art. So let's review what I've had so far. I did work there. So yeah, I've made a little bit of progress in the 100 Hands Portrait Challenge. So I should seriously number them, but the thing is they just look so good without the numbers, or maybe I can just put tape, I don't know, we'll see. So we have 3, 6, 9, 10, okay, that can be a marker, this is the 10th, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So we're at 26. I haven't seen that gouache in almost 3 weeks, so that's exciting. Alright, so here they are. Let's do it one by one. This is my gouache. It's a combination of brands like Winsor & Newton and Holbein and another brand. Some are barely surviving. Alright, let's reconstitute them. So I usually drench them in reactivating medium first for a few days and then I get back to them. So let's leave it for a bit while it reconstitutes itself. And then let's see what we have here for my other. It's not gouache, but it's my Knicker Poster color palette. And I also use these for my portraits. If this one is better, in a better condition, yes it is, then I think we have to use this first instead of my gouache. Alright, we're back. So I fixed my whole setup. And I also got this new brush, also from Canada. I got it from Michael's, I think. I forgot how much it was, but I think I want to test using this on my new painting. But I just need to get rid of this because I hate these. Look at that. That looks so beautiful. Forgive me for my raspy voice. I just recovered from a cold, so my voice changed a little bit. Alright, so the reason why I decided to use gouache on this as usual is because of the bleed coming from the alcohol markers that I used from the previous page. So of course, since there are these stains, I mean I could just leave them as is, but I want it to look good. I want the sketchpad to look good because this is my first 100 heads challenge. So I decided to paint the background. Honestly, I was just second guessing what shade of brown I would be using to match this painting. Thankfully, it worked out in the end, to be honest. I was quite worried though because if I recall, her skin tone was originally quite dark as well, so I wasn't sure how this was going to turn out. But I was just praying for the best, and worst case, I can just paint over it. It's gouache. Okay, I'm quite happy with that shade. Let's get on with working on her skin. So usually I have test sheets. That's the one on the side that you will see here. And I usually test out the colors that I would be using there before actually applying it on my painting. So I decided on this greenish yellowish shade. I think it would be a great complement to the background that I chose. And when I was looking at the reference photo, it had a bit of greens in it, so I wanted to be the underlying painting. That way it's gonna pop out once I layer it with other colors. So for this painting, I decided to go from light to dark. I want to test this method this time instead of going from dark to light. So with gouache, it works either way. It's really a matter of which one you prefer. So once I'm happy with the highlights, I start with my dark shades. And as you can see here, I'm using the angles from the flat brush to create my lines. That way it doesn't look too strong instead of like using a round pointed brush or a pen. So I like working with flat brushes because I'm forced to break down the image into basic shapes and not to overthink it in the beginning. So every time you paint in gouache, I don't know if you've heard it before, there's always that ugly face. So here is that said ugly face. So it's really just trusting the process and just moving forward, regardless of how hopeless you might think it is in the beginning. It'll get better, I promise, especially with gouache. This medium really reminds me so much of oil, which is why I'm falling in love with it so much. And I think by far it is one of my most favorite mediums. Next to, I don't know, I'm slowly falling in love with alcohol markers as well. So I noticed compared to before, I'm slowly using bolder strokes and bolder colors, if you can see here. I would never have touched that shade of pink before to work with a painting. But ever since I've been practicing with these portraits, this is we're almost at 30. I forgot the number already. But ever since then, I've been more confident in my strokes as well as choice of colors. If it doesn't work out, then we just fix it later on. So just so we're clear, right now I'm using my Knicker poster color and not my gouache, okay? Because my gouache is out of commission as of the moment. It's still quite tough, so it takes a few days for it to reconstitute and then we can use it again. So for these paintings here, I'm using Knicker poster color. It's really hard to tell the difference between the two, but if you'll ask me, I really like Knicker poster color more. It's just smoother on the paper or on most kinds of paper and any kind of painting. But the catch is they're not light fast, unlike my professional gouache, which is why I still like my professional gouache. But look at how vibrant these colors are and how it's layered on top of the other. They just work so well together. So it's too bad that it's not light fast. It's not something that I would use to sell for a painting unless of course the client would be okay with the catch that it's not light fast, meaning they would have to keep it away from sunlight and most light so that the colors will be preserved. And there we go. We're done with this old lady. I really like how this turned out. I never thought that shade of coral will look great on skin, especially for this one. Let's just test it out if it's dry so that we can work on the next painting, which is this lady over here. So this girl is a very interesting reference because the whole photo itself was so yellow that I didn't know at first how I would be able to make the skin tones pop. So it's a very interesting experiment how an underpainting of yellow will be able to pop despite most of the colors being yellow. I realized I never tried to kind of focus on one shade, not necessarily monochrome, but adding different colors to a specific shade. So in this case, I liked how this was a learning process for me, and I'm excited to try with maybe shades of blue, purple, green, red, how it would turn out if there was another painting like this. So that's something we can work on in the future, I think, for the other portraits for this 100 head challenge. So my biggest weakness when it comes to portraits are definitely the midtones. But I am happy that I've seen improvement, especially as I'm doing these voiceovers when I'm editing. I notice how much bolder I am with the colors, like I mentioned earlier. It's just that there's a default fear in me when it comes to using too much of bold colors that I tend to overthink and kind of revert back to my old habits of trying to blend it. But I think over time, it'll still get better as I become more confident. I just need to be less panicky, if that's even a word, when it comes to the paintings. And I think I need to work on my browns and yellows, how it works together. Because I tend to panic when I overuse dark colors, and I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to produce the mid-tone in between. I just need a little bit more blending practice in that aspect, I think. So this is the cubism or like boxy look that I want for the skin. I don't want a fully blended skin. I want to see my lines and strokes of the brush. It just makes it feel more painterly like for me. And that's the style that I'm trying to go for. I don't know where I'm going to take it, but over time, I think it'll just come out the more I practice. So we'll just take it day by day, head by head, and one step at a time. I'm quite happy with how this turned out, to be honest. I didn't expect it to turn out well. I know for a fact here, now that I'm looking at it, it needs a little bit more color and mid-tone blending, but I'm still happy with how it turned out. So on to our final head. So this one has the worst bleeding from the alcohol markers, which is why I decided to go with purple. The background of the original reference photo wasn't purple, it was gray, but the thing is her hair was white, so in my head, I feel like that would be so hard to figure out how to make her hair pop, which is why I decided to go with purple. And it's probably the only color that I haven't used as an undertone or a base for my painting. So here, I decided to start with the shadows this time, because earlier I've been using highlights first and then I go to the shadows. But this time, since she was fair-skinned, she was really, really fair-skinned, I didn't think going for the lightest color would work for this one. Well, to be honest, I didn't know how light of a skin tone I should start with because she's fair-skinned, so I thought the shadows would work better first. So I like how purple is actually working with the skin tone here. I've only used this method with the alcohol markers. Who would have thought it would work out with gouache as well? And here I also use the same coral shade that I used in the first painting. And I'm starting to really love this shade of pink because it just works so well with any kind of skin tone. Look at how much life it brings to the face. I want to experiment more on this, whether I can use it just on fair-skinned people and darker skinned. I don't know how it's going to blend with the browns, but it would be very interesting to find out. So I think that's what I will work on for the next few gouache and poster color portraits. So far, this third portrait is my favorite in terms of like the right amount of midtones with dark colors as well as the highlights, shadows, and the highlights. One thing I also realized is I really need to practice hair. I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to take videos of that, but I need to practice how to paint hair. I can't seem to figure it out somehow. I mean, it works for what it's worth as of the moment, but I'm not quite happy with it because it looks quite flat if I would compare it to how I would blend the skin. It looks stylized right now, but it's not what I want to go for when it comes to the hair as well. So that's something I'm going to practice on the side. I'm so in love with how this turned out. I love the bits of highlights that make it pop and make it look so alive. I didn't expect it to turn out this way. It's probably because it has enough midtones that it works to add those highlights. I just pray that I'll be able to replicate it in the future. But this is kind of what I'm going for. I think I'm starting to see where I want to take it. The problem is I don't know. It's a fluke right now, but hopefully with practice, it'll be more consistent. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys next time. Thanks for joining me today.